I don't think we can, in just a few words, do justice to it, but we need to learn as a developing country, right? Urbanization. Loosely speaking, it is migrating from rural areas with lesser resources towards city life, right? And in this very region, Southeast Asia, Pakistan has the highest rate of urbanization. Now, in a larger sense, in a global sense, urbanization is a good indication because it says that it is directly related to economic growth.
Only if we refer to planned urbanization.
Definitely, that's what I was coming to, thank you. So, but it's not the same in all cases as well. So today in this show, we want to sort of discover the facts why Pakistan's urbanization isn't at par with the world's, if it isn't. Secondly, if it's at such a huge rate, is it, are we supposed to control it? Are we supposed to support it actually to, you know, keep going on? So many things on my mind that we need to discuss without any further.
Are we just supposed to sit back and relax, you know?
And relax, absolutely.
So which is why I'm going to share a few figures, ladies and gentlemen. So imagine back in 1950, it was the 18% population of the whole of Pakistan was living in urbanized areas, or, you know, we had 18% of urbanization. But imagine that, you know, the census of 2017 tells us that, you know, in the South Asian subcontinent, we are on top of the list with 4% increase per annum. And not just that, imagine that we actually, in 2019, how many houses did we need?
Around 10 million.
Around 10 million.
We had a deficit, right?
And as we speak about it today, ladies and gentlemen, in 2022, we need 28 million houses, and there's a backlog, and we are only producing 250,000 houses. But now, what we really need to think about is that, okay, because majority of the urbanized population actually lives in, let's start from Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, Peshawar, and then Multan.
9 major cities.
And, you know, and all 9 or 10 major cities as well. But imagine, ladies and gentlemen, everybody has the right to live a very healthy and a luxurious life where everything is at your disposal, may it be medical assistance, may it be education.
Absolutely.
But are we doing it in a manner where we will actually save our agricultural land as well, and then at the same time we will be giving the people the liberty to live the way they want to live? That's something which we are discussing today, and we're very lucky that we have actually been joined by somebody who happens to be the urban development specialist as well. He is Mr. Muhammad Abdullah. Hello sir, Assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you?
Thank you very much and वालेकुम सलाम. सबसे पहले तो मैं आप दोनों का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूं कि आज इस हार्ट बर्निंग और बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट इश्यूज के ऊपर आपने start kiya.
Thank you very much, sir. But we will actually request you to please, if you can, speak in English, because we are the only English channel in the country.
Okay.
So, you know, so that'll be wonderful.
So that's it's okay to me. So we are the being a Pakistan, it's the largest urban growth country in the world nowadays. In South Asia, we are the fastest growing at the 4% per annum. What it means that at the, as you mentioned, that in 1950 Pakistan was the urban population was 18%, and now it's in 2017 it is 36%. 36% means that 80 million populations are living in urban areas.
Right.
And we are not providing these services to the residents of the urbanized communities and planned communities, as you mentioned, and then the affordable. Both were the shortage, and ultimately peoples are moving towards slums. It's not important the issues that what is happening nowadays, but I'm much worried about that what is coming in the future. In 2040, our 50% urban population will be living in urban areas, and in 2040 our population will be more than 300 peoples. So this means that double the population. Current 2017 census is saying that 80 million population. In 2040 it will be 150 million. So that every city has a double size in the next 17 years. We have not planned our cities, and we are not providing those services to the coming populations or the migrating populations, for which we have to be provide the infrastructure and the health and educational facilities and the urban environment.
And so thank you very much for raising this very important point. And me and Shiza, we have been talking about it, you know, not even lately. I think we've been talking about it earlier as well. But because, you know, let's take an example from our federal capital, Islamabad, where how wonderfully planned it is till the time you reach F11. And, you know, beyond F11, if you're going to go down the road where it's B17, F17, I don't know how many sectors are there, you see all of that ill planning. You see that how CDA is not being able to control where the development really needs to take place. We have seen the E11 incident where, you know, just because of rain, you know, a lot of people lost their lives because, you know, they actually have encroached and they have made houses on places where they were not supposed to. So imagine if that's the kind of control we're going to have, how will we solve this problem, which is right at our footstep or doorstep?
Again, I will say the same thing, which I have already spoken about, that in Islamabad, we need 25,000 housing units a year.
All right.
We are only providing two or 3,000 housing units, planned units in a year. Where the rest 22 to 23,000 units are going? They are going in the Baraku, in slums, Kachi Abadis, and urban settlements, slum settlements. So we have to be provide 25,000 units in Islamabad and 30,000 units in Pindi, twin cities. So almost you need 50,000 units in a year, and both cities are providing only 20% of the total requirement. So what is happening that our legislations and the rules regulations which support to the development is not conducive to the development.
Right, it is.
So those are the areas which we have to be addressed. Secondly, I will say that our all urban areas has been converted into the slums.
Yes, that's true.
So what is slum? Now understand that we are sitting on a hot tub and a burning issue, that the hepatitis and all those epidemics which is coming.
And we won't be safe even.
So the environmental deterioration is going on, and that is the reasons that nowadays all urban areas, Islamabad population 60% is living in slums. The most
60%?
planned cities, 60% Islamabad population is living in slums. So government or the public sector or CDA cannot provide those facilities. We have to be incorporate the private and the cooperative setups to provide those services and to facilitate them, to regulate them, facilitate them and monitor them, and make the policies and rules and regulation which facilitating the development, not creating a hurdles in the way of the development. That is the requirements.
Absolutely. And you're so right where you say that it's not only the government that can actually, you know, fill this gap as well. Because 60%, it's actually shocking for us to learn, right? 60% of the population in the federal capital is actually slums.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I think everyone, like you said, Shahzad, has the right to look for a better life. If they think that there are better resources out there, everyone as a human, as a basic right, they do have it to actually go grab that opportunity as well.
Exactly.
But sir, you mentioned a very interesting thing that by 2040, a lot of our cities will be, heavily populated.
More than 50% our population will be living in urban
In the
areas.
city.
And
But
we can
imagine,
already see the traffic nightmares, within the city Islamabad we live in as well.
yeah, it is actually horrific. But does that mean, sir, that the geography of the city won't expand, right? That only means that that portion will be heavily populated with the resource burden. How will that happen?
Actually, as far as the city growth or the development is concerned,
Yeah.
I will mention few other points also, so
Okay.
which will support this urbanization
Okay.
in a planned way.
Okay.
So that's when the urbanization took place, that's what is happening. Why the peoples are migrating towards the urban centers?
Yeah, why?
Better jobs, better educations, better health conditions and all those things. And never migrations happens only for the purpose of the residents.
True.
Migration always, the first priority is always the economic reasons.
Right.
And
right.
then associated with the health and education and all other facilities. I have identified 11 points
Oh, wow.
which is very important to be addressed in order to have a planned development in a way that's where the people can live in a healthy environment.
Can we talk about
So,
that?
I will say about that. Number one, in all urban centers where we are know at micro levels, government of Pakistan is providing a very benefit, a very conducive environment to the Mera Ghar Pakistan for the low income peoples.
Okay,
But
okay.
that is very micro level. At macro levels, we have to be involve all the developers and all the cooperative societies and provide the same facilities to them that they can produce the affordable income groups housing facilities.
Right.
Sir, I have a slight disagreement over here. I'm sorry that I'm interjecting as well, because most of the time the encroachment has taken place within these cooperative housing societies as well. And obviously, it's not that the administration never knew about it. The administration always knew about it. In some cases, they've been bribed. In some cases, they've been given a lot of money to just keep their mouth shut as well. And that's the kind of sector we're talking about, and we really need to talk about all the ill practices.
True.
But very quickly, where you said that it needs to be public-private partnership, but imagine that the policy making really needs to come from the government, and in fact dictated by the government. This is the rule of law, and that's how we really need to move towards urbanization. Over here, unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are government servants and are blindfolded by the amount of money they might have received. I'm sorry, I'm not labeling or I'm not saying that there are people who do that, but everybody knows that we might have gone through it. If anybody wants to ask, I can share my own story.
In a developing country, it happens.
And that's how illegal constructions take place, where there's a lot of problems, where we see that, that all of those, what do we call them? All of those nehers are even yet clogged. So imagine that, if we are going to talk about it, how will we find a resolve? So let's talk about finding a resolve and how will it happen, because it needs to be a trickle-down effect.
Actually, when you say about that, there are some illegal practices and all those things. This is happening in every societies. We are not saying that's, but when we are providing the legislations or the rules, regulations which actually govern the developments, that should be support to the development. That should not be the hurdles in the way of the development. That becomes the reasons that such practices also comes. Secondly, we are all the part of the society, and in society every type of peoples are exist. So there are some, but the peoples who want to be do as per law in accordance with the laws, are we providing the services to them?
No.
That's
unfortunate.
No, I will say that's in urban areas. It was happened that before 80s, all the housing sectors and all facilities was developed by the government of Pakistan, either the development authorities, municipal bodies, or housing and physical planning department. But it was come to a conclusion that the public sector can't provide these facilities, and then they allowed to the private sector to perform. But for the performance of the private sectors, did we make that transition of the rules regulation which facilitate them? No. No, I will indicate 11 points. That's number one. In all urban areas where we have the municipal limits, so ban all illegal developments. There should not be allowed a single house to be developed illegally. Number one. Number two, when a housing project comes, 20% pocket area should be compulsory acquired and should be declared as a public purpose. Otherwise, one project takes 20 years, 30 years due to the reasons that that's only a small pocket come in between, and it will be hinder the whole project. And who will be at last? The public. A project, say that 20 projects can come, and we are only awaiting a one project. When 20 comes, that the prices will come down. The second is that the public sector finance to the housing projects, take it as an industry and provide them the facilities of financial facilities to the procurement of the land, then the infrastructure development and the development of the buildings. Then we have to be complete ban on the development on agriculture areas land. That's very important. It will be a food security, but that's very important to critically define that who is the agriculture area and which is not the agriculture area. All over our Puthar region is not an agriculture area. It's a barren Banjar Kadim. It's called a Banjar Kadim. So it's the area which is the most suitable for the housing developments. So develop the industries here and provide them the services here, so that the population should migrate here, not the Sundar industrial estate, not the Faisalabad industrial estates. Make them in at a Lilla interchange, Chakri interchange, and all those areas which is the barren areas, so that your population should not be established on the prime agriculture. It should be on barren land. And then your CPAC route, which is also on the barren land, and use those areas. So in all provinces, we can find those areas which are barren. In Islamabad and Pindi, and then the Chakwal, Jhelum, and Attock, Rawalpindi districts, all are barren, 90% barren. So we can utilize and provide them the facility. It is also near to the capital, and also try to stop the expansion of the existing cities, make the new cities, the small cities. They should be integrated with the major cities through a mass transit system. So you will have a better facilities there and better management system there. No, I will go to other points. That's no, we should go as the government is also promoting the vertical developments.
Yes, absolutely.
So a planned vertical development, it will cater a few percentage of the urbanization population, not the 100%. And then secondly, you have to be also think about that all our water bodies has been converted into sewer nalas. So
there's no
in whole world, I'm working at the same time in Pakistan, in UAE, and in North America. So what I'm saying, the difference, all the developments on the water bodies is the best area and best lucrative area. We have converted into a slums and the sewerage. No, come to a conclusion that can our Baningala become the Beverly Hill? We have converted into slums.
True.
So, secondly, can the Sohan village, Shakrial, Iqbal town can be converted into F6, F7? Why not? What was done with those areas? So, we have not provided them the facilities to the developments so that they should become in the
And they need to be provided as well, but thank you very much.
So, one point very
Sir.
important, which you have started, awareness to the public, that's the problem of the slums to the people's environment and people's living. So, in the curriculum, we should involve a subject that we should live in an environment, a planned environment. It's not a matter that the house can be a 2 madla or a 2 canal. It's not matter. It should be planned.
Exactly,
Definitely.
it should be planned. Thank you very much, Mr. Muhammad Abdullah Saab, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation. And thank you very much for putting out all of these points, because these are the points which we have been talking about, we've been shouting about as well. We've been pushing them, that's how we really need to grow and develop, so that after 12, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years down the line, our future generations are not complaining. They're like, hey, you know what, did you ever go to university or school? Weren't you educated that you were supposed to actually kind of induce a system of proper planned development?
Right, and Shahzad, you know, at this point where there's no proper planning in terms of urbanization in Pakistan, still 55% of Pakistan's GDP comes from urban areas.
Yep.
So if it is planned, imagine how greater that would be.